What are typical conditions in Sudbury? How do they protect you, the buyer, or in some cases, you, the seller? In this video, I'm going to go over the main conditions that we use, how they protect you, how they work, and why we put them into our offers. There's certain times you have to try to take them out, right? To go to the no conditions offer. But that's for another video, which I have on my channel. You can go check that out. So before we start, I'm Tristan Ritchie. I'm a realtor here in Sudbury, Ontario, and I help people buy and sell real estate. I love what I do, and I like making these videos. If they help, please like, comment, subscribe. Really helps. I'm going to start with the three main typical conditions. So a condition is something that you put into an offer that gives you usually a certain period of time that protects you as the buyer or the seller. But in this case, I'm just going to talk about the buyer more so. That protects you as the buyer and gives you time to do your due diligence. So I'm going to give you $500,000 conditional upon me completing these three things, right? The three conditions that are most typical in an offer are financing, inspection, and insurance. So once you negotiate a price, then everyone agrees on it. If you have conditions in your offer, usually that means you'll have 5 business days to get your financing in order for that specific house, get an inspection done, and make sure you can get insurance. So during the conditional period, the 5 days, the seller can't accept another offer unless it's worded different, but normally. So you as the buyer have 5 days. It's in your hands. You get to decide whether or not you want to follow through with this deal. If you can't get financing, you back out, you get your deposit back. There's no harm, no foul. You don't lose anything. Same with the inspection. It's satisfactory to the buyer. So there could be a nail out of place at this house. You shouldn't do that. That's kind of bad faith, but there's a nail out of place. You could back out because you have the condition of inspection and then getting insurance. So just calling the insurance broker, just saying, hey, I'm buying this house. Give me a quote. We're closing on this day. Just make sure you can get it. So those are the three typical conditions, right? Just basic. Then you have other conditions, which sometimes it's due to being in a rural area. So for example, emptying septic bed and showing it to be in good working order. Could also be a statement, so they just have to do that before closing. Bacteriological analysis. So to get a mortgage, you need to make sure that the drinking water at a rural property is actually potable. So it passes the bacteriological analysis at the health unit. So it could be conditional upon 5 days upon you retrieving your own sample, because you may want to make sure that it's actually a sample from the water source, and bring it to the health unit and getting the results. You could also ask for the furnace to be serviced. There's a few other ones that depend on what you're buying and when you're buying. So every situation is different, like any deal in real estate, which is what makes it so fun for me. And then now let's go a little bit into the bonus, which is if you're buying a rental property. There's a few more conditions that I like to add in for a rental property or statements that really help protect you as the buyer. For example, we want to make sure, maybe look at the last 1 year of bills. So yeah, they mention what their bills are, but maybe we want to see a copy just to make sure they're telling the truth. 2, proof of payment. Sometimes you ask for a proof of the bank statements that show the rent coming in on a monthly basis. So they tell you they're paying, show us proof that they're paying on a monthly basis so they're not behind on rent. I usually put something in there about reasonable enjoyment, that none of the tenants are fighting that they know of, and everyone's happy, you're not getting too many complaints. The keys all get transferred on closing, or the leases. So if you get an accepted offer, you want to review the lease, or the overview part, which is the tenant acknowledgement, which your bank will also need. So those are what conditions are, how they're used in an offer, and what kind of conditions to put in your offers. That's just a small amount. There's so many more that are available. And then like I was mentioning before, just a quick caveat, some of these offers that you're putting, if you're competing against 5-6 other people, you likely can't have conditions, which means you got to do all this due diligence ahead of time before you put the offer in. You don't got to be risky about it, but you got to do your homework ahead of time. Get your mortgage in place. Maybe do a pre-inspection before they get sending the offer in, and check in with your insurance company, see if you can get that insurance, and then put your offer in. Then you can have a really strong no conditions offer. That's conditions in Sudbury, how they can help you, and which ones to put in. If this helped, like, comment, subscribe, really helps, and I'll see you in the next video.